Record?
I already did.
Oh, we're already recording? All right.
Oh, hold on, let me get my book. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Take whatever it takes.
Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Great.
Welcome, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rita BOOM, and I am here with the Whatever It Takes podcast. Sitting next to me, as always, is my anonymous co-host. What is your name today?
My name is Sandra.
Sandra. We're going Sandra.
Yes, why is that funny?
Why are you changing your voice all of a sudden?
I didn't.
Try to sound
Because
sweet.
you're going, welcome.
It's my podcast
I
voice.
know, I thought you swallowed a fly.
Oh God. I probably swallowed 6 in my sleep. There's a lot of flies in Texas. If any of you all out there want to come,
There's plenty in Missouri and New York and all that too.
we have a lot of flies. I'm not denying that we don't have flies in New Jersey,
Okay.
and they bite, but you all have an excessive amount of flies.
And they're slow. And some of them are big.
yeah,
Like you could put a saddle on them.
just like your tarantulas are big.
Tarantulas are
Yeah, I
big.
saw one of those while down here too. But
Yeah.
anyway, well, guys, I am Rita BOOM, and I'm going to share my story today. So here we go. All right. So
Rita.
I'm Rita. I'm a compulsive gambler,
Yes.
and I used to call myself a degenerate compulsive gambler, but I've recently dropped the
How come
degenerate part.
why don't you anymore?
Why don't I call myself?
I'm glad you don't.
Because for numerous reasons. One, my sponsor asked nicely.
Good. Because I was fixing to tell you, knock that shit off.
That's what she said. She
Yeah.
said, you're not a degenerate. You're not that person anymore. So stop
No.
labeling yourself. She's like, you are what you tell yourself.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
if you call yourself stupid,
You're
then
gonna be
you're gonna think you're
stupid.
stupid.
Yeah.
You know, and that so and also I'm on the path of I'm at a crossroads in my career where I love my readontheRocks.com, but I also am looking to a path of helping
Okay,
other
do
compulsive
you.
gamblers. What did you just say?
Voted
Best of Jersey Shore.
best
2
of
years in a row.
Jersey Shore.
But
2 years in a row.
but and I'm taking a lot of certification classes, and one of the things that they cover in one of the classes that I'm taking is that they're dropping degenerate from the medical books. We are recognized and
that.
as gambling is recognized as a disease, but degenerate, the biggest flaw in our system is the medical professionals and how they label gamblers and some of the derogatory terms that they use, and degenerate is one that they're trying to get
I
dropped.
didn't know that.
See?
I didn't know it was really a
The more I
thing.
get certified,
just
the
thought
more
you didn't
education I'm
feel
bringing
good
to our
about
podcast.
yourself.
Well, and then also, yeah, I also, but the reason why I started calling myself a degenerate, let me just say, it wasn't for a negative person that way. Like I wasn't like, oh, you're such a degenerate. It was when I came into the program, when I came into the program in January of 2020, I was married at the time, and my father-in-law at the time and I were very close, and we used to needle each other back and forth, and he used to call me a degenerate. Oh, here comes the degenerate. But
Uh-huh.
it was a joke between the two of us. So it wasn't like he wasn't like,
He wasn't really.
he wasn't trying to be mean. He wasn't, it was
Gotcha.
just it was a shot.
Yeah,
You know, we
yeah.
took shots at
Mhm,
each other,
mhm,
you know?
mhm.
So for me, it was more of a comical part, but the more I got in my program and the more that I saw that it bothered, and it's my sponsor wasn't the only person. It bothered you.
It bothered
It
me.
bothered a lot of people that I called myself a degenerate, compulsive gambler. So recently, I've dropped that. But so I'm Rita. I'm a compulsive gambler, and the date I protect is boom, January 24th or January
No, it's
10th.
not.
No shit.
6/10.
Yeah. I'm so nervous.
6/10/2024. Why are you so nervous?
I don't know.
And you're red.
I know. This is a lot, man.
Oh, it's the story.
It's the story.
Not easy to tell you. If you have hit rock bottom, face down, and been curb stomped with somebody's foot up your ass while you fall,
Yeah.
that was me. And that was you.
Yeah. So let's
We
get
did it up good.
Yeah, we did.
Mhm,
Let me
yeah.
do it. All
Mhm.
right.
Do you
So
remember the date now?
yes, I do.
Okay, good.
So the date I protect is June 10th, 2024.
Way to go.
Thank you. So It didn't start there though. Let's take it back to Philadelphia, where I was born and raised. And and
Kelly?
Billy, I had a great upbringing. I really did. I had great parents. My mom and dad, Rita and Charles Bianchi. Uh, amazing parents. Amazing parents. My mom used to sit my brother and I up in front of mirrors. Look at you two. You guys can do anything. You can. She was so
Aw.
positive, so positive. And she was my best friend. She really was. And you know, I had a brother. He was a little bit older than me, because my parents had trouble getting pregnant with me, and my mom used to always say, "I better not hear you weren't ever wanted if you only knew how much it cost to have you." So, but there was a gap between me and my brother, but that never really affected anything. And I always hold the other memories are so skewed with his addiction, and I saw a lot as a kid. I was actually just telling Francie today, my brother was addicted to drugs. He acted out, and I remember one time when I was about 4 or 5 years old, I heard arguing in the living room, and my house went like this. It was here was the living room, here was the kitchen, here was a hallway, my mom and dad's room, my room, my brother's spare room, and then the bathroom. So I was right in the middle there. So when I could open up my door, I could see into the living room.
Everywhere.
And I heard all this commotion, and I saw my dad beating the shit out of my brother as my brother was trying to stab my dad with a butcher knife. And he was beating him to get him out of the house. And he got him out of the house. He wrestled him out of the house, and he shut the door. And a few minutes later, I heard this tap, tap, tap at my window. And there was my brother standing there, like full of blood. And come on, Rita Mary, just let me in. Just let me in, Rita Mary. And I'll never forget that. I still dream. And then he climbed on the roof and was running back and
Oh,
forth.
God.
He could hear him. And eventually the cops came and took him away. And my
Oh.
mom and I went to a hotel that night. And, that's just a memory that stands out a lot, and so many times visiting them in rehabs and celebrating birthdays there. And is Anthony gonna be here for the holidays, or but he suffered. And I didn't know. I knew drugs were bad. I knew about addiction. I knew about programs because of my brother. Plus my parents found my mom was very spiritual. She was very into a religion, and it led her to Family Anonymous, which nowadays is called Gamanon. It was originally called Family Anonymous, and it was for people who had parents and loved ones who had people who were suffering with addictions, majority drugs and alcohol for at that time in life. And so, and my mom and dad were so close with their fellowship. Like those guys went on vacations together. My dad still talks to them. So anyway, so I knew all about program. I knew all about addiction. The Serenity Prayer was right there on the refrigerator when I was growing up.
Oh, wow.
But fast forward to when I was 14 years old. I hadn't heard from my brother in a couple days, and Anthony, even though that was his name, Anthony, even though he was in his addiction, we always heard from him. And yo, we someone of my dad and I found him, dead. And I was 14 years old, and I remember when my mom found out, she just went downstairs and did a load of laundry, but she was never the same. She was never the same. And yo, she I always commended my parents, because a lot of times a death of a son or a death of a child breaks them apart. But my parents, sir, how are you doing?
Sorry. Sorry.
So anyway, so the death of a child is really traumatic on a parent, and I don't wish it on any parent. And and my parents, where some couples break up after a
They
traumatic.
got closer.
Oh, they got so much
Yeah,
closer, which was
know.
kind of great, because
It tears it apart.
it was only 2 years after that
Oh, Mommy died.
yeah, my mom passed away. She died of cancer. She I always say it was a broken heart, but it was cancer that got her, and I'm gone by that August. So she wasn't even a year with cancer. Thank God, because what I saw in that year is
Terrible.
it's terrible. She was my best friend. You know what I mean? To see her suffer like that, and my
Oh,
dad,
God.
and oh.
Rita Mary. That's a terrible story.
I
So
miss her.
sad, but man, you're you're making it up.
But I used to get so mad at Anthony because I would say, what the fuck, man? Like, why couldn't you get your shit together? Like, it wasn't like we had a bad childhood. It wasn't like we had mean parents. It wasn't like we got abused. It wasn't like any of that. I mean, why would you destroy something that was so beautiful and full of so much love? And I didn't understand for years.
Addiction. You didn't understand addiction. Yeah,
Was so mad at him. And
that's normal.
I tried alcohol. I love making it for other people, but I really can't stand it. I don't like hangovers. I don't it does horrible things for women's
She makes
looks
a
and things.
great old fashioned.
Thank you. But I I'm not an alcoholic. I've tried
Oh,
drugs. Not a drug addict. I tried
well,
to be a sex addict, but
didn't work.
it didn't work out.
Shit.
But then uh but then come to realize I knew all along I had an addiction. It was right in front of my face
Yep.
because growing up, my parents always said, Rita Mary, don't you dare do drugs, don't you drink. You have the gene. And I'd be like, okay, like what the fuck? And
Scared the fuck out of
but
you.
there I am at 8 years old in the church rectory playing bingo for money with my mom. Just if you win, let me know so I can call it for you, Rita Mary. You know, the first time I ever placed a horse bet, I was with my dad at Philadelphia racetrack. I don't even remember how old I was, you know, and they didn't know no better. I
Oh
remember
God,
pulling
no,
up
they
and
didn't
every day
know.
they had to get the numbers. Every night we had to turn during
Yeah.
dinner time, there was no television until the number came on. Then we had to turn on the TV and watch the number. And but again, nobody knew. Nobody knew that gambling was
Nobody.
and nobody, and my parents didn't think ever that they were setting me up
They never
for.
would have done anything to harm you.
They did right. They were exactly, and if they didn't glorify it, the rest of the world was starting to glorify it anyway. You know what I mean? So fast forward, as soon as I could buy a scratch off at 18, I was buying scratch offs. My 21st birthday, I told you I'm a big drinker. I didn't drink. I went to Vegas on my 21st birthday.
Wow.
And you know, there were so many signs when I would go to like the casino. I didn't just go for a good time, a couple
Yeah, I
hours.
see them now too.
I always left broke, always left broke.
Broke.
And, or I would always stay out longer playing than
Than
everybody else.
everybody else.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know, uh, and I remember the first time I ever played a slot machine, they say that when you win, it's the worst thing in the world.
Yep.
I remember the first 5 minutes I spent in Vegas at the New York. I put like 20 bucks into the Wheel of Fortune and I won like 40 bucks. It wasn't even a big one. But
Yep.
I still remember where that machine was placed. I still remember putting that money in. I still remember winning. And I was like, wow, this is great. And like we all do. And then just so and this next time I went to Vegas, won enough to pay for the trip.
Yeah.
It's like so I liked gambling. I loved it. I felt like a big dick whenever I gambled.
Yeah.
And you know, uh I would go to casinos and there was things would happen, but it wasn't every day. So it would be like, okay, this happened, and then I wouldn't go to a casino for about a year.
Yeah.
But I would be playing scratch offs. Or if you had a pool, I was in it. If
Oh,
we were at
always.
the VFW, they all
Yes.
ran to the bar. I ran right
Yes.
over to the tab machines and
Right.
got my tab machines first.
Yep.
You know, and and then there was one night when I remember this should have been a huge fucking red flag. Back to my childhood. To sum that up real quick. Dad and I are left alone. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. We're trying our best. But I'll tell you what, I have the best father in the world, and he raised me, I think, great. And any mistake I've made in this world is not on
Not a
him,
reflection on him.
not a reflection on him or her.
No.
And when I discovered that gambling was my addiction, I was able to forgive my brother. I finally was able to say, Anthony, I forgive you. I get
Get
it.
it.
I fucking get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But I need to go to college. I went to college. I bought a house by the age of 19. I was on a fast track of a professional career. with big box retailers. I was making insane money at my age, and even when I was laid off and I switched up to bartending, I always felt very confident in my jobs, and I was very successful with money. I've always been up until up until in my early 20s, I
Okay.
was fabulous with
But
money.
hold on, let's laugh about that for just a
Yeah,
minute.
Mr.
That you were ever good with money.
My friend used to call me Squeaks. I was so fucking cheap, all right? Now I could care less, man. You can have the last 20 bucks in my wallet. I don't even give a shit. But so uh there was one night I was a manager, I was at a manager's meeting, and we got done early, and we went to Atlantic City, and we were all playing, and I was playing blackjack, and I was sitting next to these two dudes, and my friend brought us out to dinner at this high-end restaurant. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna share this one. I'm gonna
Alright.
share this one.
Midnight Confession.
Midnight Confessions. Yeah, statute of limitation has ran out on this one.
Are
All
you
right.
sure?
Oh, I'm positive. I'm positive. I
Could be a
was,
mandated reporter.
and I've been tested since then. So, but yeah, these guys took us out to dinner, and then I saw the one
What do I
gentleman.
have?
Nice.
Thank you.
I saw the one gentleman take a $500 chip and put it into his pocket. Well, I made sure that we went upstairs and had sex so that when he fell asleep, I could take that $500 chip out of his pocket, which I did. I went down and cashed it, found my friends, we got in the car, and then we went home. And I thought there was nothing wrong with that. And I
Wow,
thought there was nothing wrong with that.
really?
It didn't send off a red flag, because guess what? I didn't gamble at a casino again for probably years. Maybe who knows? Who knows? You know? Um, but again, I was still playing the scratch offs. I'm still gambling every day, you know, some way. But then I met this girl, and she was crazy. I'm not gonna say her name because I'm just not gonna give her that light, but it was insane. It was insanity, death, or jail. The same thing they say when you come into this program, okay? You stay out there, insanity, death, or jail.
Her name was
It,
Insanity.
yeah, insanity. We're gonna call her insanity. And it was off and on for 7 years. And the only time we got along was when we gambled. I taught her how to gamble, and she, I mean, according to family members, they, you know, I don't know. I haven't talked to this girl in over 10 years, so I'm not even gonna share on her inventory. But um, in my opinion, I think she had a problem. I gave her an addiction.
Well,
I
we
showed
can
her her
spot it.
addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what's happening in her life these days, but I know when we were together, she was definitely addicted to gambling. And but our toxicity eventually hit extremes, and I got out of that relationship. And um then I met uh
Wow.
my wife, and she was not a gambler. I took her to the casino once. She watched me
Wow.
200 lose 200 bucks in the first 5 minutes and said, "This is fucking
Yeah,
stupid."
Tom's not one either.
Nah, and but it's funny, these people who see the losing are like, "That's fucking dumb."
I know. Why couldn't we see that?
Right. Because who knows? Because we're addicts, because it's our vice.
Shit, I just didn't ever want to be an addict.
I didn't know. I don't know. I
I
just knew,
didn't.
don't drink and drive, don't drink and do
Don't
drugs,
go use
remarry.
drugs.
But so anyway, so we break up, I get married. Sarah thinks gambling's stupid, but she knows that I enjoy it. We were friends for years before we got married. And so she thought, she watched me win big one scratch offs. Like, I remember one time at work, I won 700 bucks on a scratch off. And so but she supports, so she was like, "That's your thing. That makes you happy. That makes you happy. Buy your fucking scratch off." She
Can you
didn't care.
imagine winning 30,000 on a scratch off?
No. Mm-mm.
Me neither.
I think that was the highest I ever won on a scratch off. I'm not sure. I don't even
700?
remember. On a scratch
Hit
off.
millions.
Yeah,
Mm.
I don't
No
remember.
telling how much you spend though.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought people housewarming gifts with the second chance prizes that they offer on in some states. Okay, when you lose, you scan your losing tickets, it racks up points,
Oh
and
shit.
you can get you can buy things.
Really?
Maryland does that. And
Oh.
I bought my friends John and Dave a coffee maker for their housewarming gift and
Nice.
sent it to them with my reward points. But well, fast forward, I'm married to Sarah. Sarah and I were together, but I reflect now, and I still am working my inventory and everything, but we had about 2 great years of marriage, and then we were just we got lax and we let outside influences interfere in our marriage. We had people move in with us that should have never been living with us. We had people interfering in our decisions, and it just eventually, and let's not forget, I haven't dealt with the loss of my brother or my mom yet.
Why?
I think I have.
How do you ever know if you did?
Well, right now I'm in a grief share retreat, so I'll let you
Oh,
know in
okay.
about 13 weeks.
Now let me know. I don't have a clue.
I don't know either yet, but because I still grieve them every day, and it's okay because that's what I am learning in this retreat, that you can grieve for as long as you need to,
Yeah.
but you have to learn how to channel that grief. And me, I was not channeling that grief correctly. I was going back to what made me feel like a big dick, which I enjoyed doing, what took me out of reality. And I remember one night my ex-wife and I, because she's now my ex-wife, uh, or soon to be ex-wife. We'll get into that. But so uh my soon to be ex-wife and I were together, and I used to never say, oh, I would go to the casino here and there, but I never would play online. I was always like, oh, that's such a scam.
It
Why the hell
was.
would you play online? That's such a scam.
It was.
And then one night we were watching TV, and it came up, live dealers here at the Golden Nugget. It's always that fucking Golden
I
Nugget. Always that
do,
fucking Golden
yeah.
Nugget, man. And it was live dealers. And I was like, oh, I can play blackjack on my phone with live dealers. That can't be a scam.
No way.
No way. I'm just like, I'm playing right there. So I deposited $1,000. They matched $1,000, and I was off to the races. And I
Oh,
say that when it starts as a small bleed, that was my from 8 years old to now I got 30. I was married when I was 33. This is probably about 30. I was about 36 when I saw that commercial.
uh-huh.
And
Wow.
yeah, about 36, because it was about our
Wow.
third, fourth year of marriage. And um it was it was unstoppable. It was so unstoppable.
A slow
Next,
bleed.
it was just next thing you know, and what it is it's not, you're not at the casino withdrawing money. You're not
You're right there with your phone
right.
right in front of you, in bed, in the car, in the garage. Doesn't
I
matter.
was in the shower. I was splitting aces in the shower. I'm washing my hair, fucking playing two aces.
Yeah.
It's like it's crazy.
Mhm.
So, so it went so bad. And my ex-wife trusted me. She never worried about the finances because I was tight with money. She never worried about the
Speaks.
bills because I always paid them. I had a system. I had my little highlighter. I had my routines. And then next thing you know, I just didn't give a shit. I was maxing out credit cards. I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. I was
Payday loans.
payday loans, right? Payday loans. I was, I believe it was 2018. I had taken a job in a very ritzy area, and I was only there about 2 weeks, and I was making insane money. And I knew people who worked there. I even have to basically go through the interview process. I was hired right away. So what do I do to thank the people who respected me and
Oh,
thought I was a good employee and was trustworthy to have on their staff?
so
I
money.
stole money. I stole money from a customer, and I,
Were you gambling during this
yes.
time? Okay.
Oh yeah, I was gambling during all this time. From the
Whole time.
minute I saw that commercial,
Till
I didn't stop.
gotcha.
Did not stop until January 24th,
Okay.
2020.
Okay.
But this was August. It was and I got away with
You got
murder.
away
I
with it.
got away with it. I got so fucking lucky, and you would have thought that that was scared the shit out of me. But guess
No,
what? Nope. I still was gambling.
we have to be hit in the face.
Still gambling. So then fast forward to December of 2019. And it was after Christmas. Because I remember at Christmas time that year, I didn't have enough money for the stocking stuffers.
Mhm.
And I was like, shit. And I used to stuff my ex-wife's stocking with money because that's what my dad used to do for my mom. So I kept it as like a tradition. Well, that year I didn't even have one stuff in there, right? I just barely got enough for the presents. And I was like, shit. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to I gotta do something about the stocking. So I went around the house and I grabbed things that that she owned that she hadn't touched in months. And I wrapped that all up. And I put that in the stocking. And about halfway through the stocking, she's like, "Is this my shit?"
This is your
I
shit.
was like, and we got a big laugh out of it. And I joked it off. I bullshitted my way through it, like, and we laughed about it. But like,
We're
I
good
think that's when I
bullshitters.
think that's when she started was like,
You're giving me my own shit
yeah.
for
And then
Christmas.
next thing you know, she went to use a credit card shortly after that. And it was maxed out. And she was like, she started calling every credit card. And she was like, "What the fuck is going on, Rita?"
Mm.
And I came home and I was like, I was like, I told her everything. And she was like, I remember she was furious. She was like, I don't even, well, she wasn't furious. That's the scary thing about her. She's an Aries and she's she's very cool, calm, and collected like her mother. But we go home to her mom's house in Maryland, and one morning I wake up to tell her that I'm going to the gym, and she goes fucking ballistic, ballistic. And her mom's like, "Sarah, what the fuck is going on?" And Sarah took her mom outside, and apparently she told her mom everything. And when I met with them, Sarah was like, "I don't know how to handle this, Rita. If you had cheated on me, maybe I would know how to handle this better. I think I would be able to handle this better." But she's like, "I need my mom. I don't know how to handle this." And so her parents, who were very good with money, put us on a plan, this and that. You think that would have fixed me? No, nope, 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 nope. In fact, on the way home from there, we got in an accident, and I immediately start crying. And she's like, "Why the fuck are you crying? Stop crying. This is just an accident, blah, blah, blah." But in my head, I'm thinking, did I pay the insurance?
Oh,
How are we going to pay for another car? I've ruined our credit. I was like freaking
oh,
out because I'm thinking after the accident.
yes.
So you think that would have stopped me from gambling?
No.
Nope. January comes around. She finds a car. Now, my ex-wife did not ask me for many things. She was a very simple woman. All she wanted, she loved Cadillacs. And she said, "When we get married, can we always have a Cadillac?" And I said, "We can always have a Cadillac." So we always had a Cadillac. And we bought a Cadillac, and we had a check from the insurance company for the Cadillac that was just totaled out. And as I'm handing it over to the gentleman and we're driving off the lot with our new Cadillac, that check had already been blown gambling.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm trying to figure out in 3 days how
Oh
I'm
my
going to get
God.
enough money so that on Monday that check
They don't come and get the car.
they don't come and get I didn't know what the fuck was gonna happen.
Oh my
I just
God.
drove a $40,000 car off the lot with a bounce check with a check that I know is gonna bounce on Monday. And what a weekend. Oh my God, what a weekend. I pawned things. I did everything to try to get that money back. And in fact, I even was close to having it back. And then I gambled again and I lost it all. And the guy who was helping me try to get the money, a friend at the time, was like, "I can't even deal with this." He's like, "I can't." He's like, he was so disgusted that all the money that we had worked to
It's no
getting.
fun to gamble when you need the money.
No. Right, exactly.
You
It never
know?
goes your way.
Never.
Never. So that Sunday I had to tell I even wrote her parents my last stitch effort. And you know what the best part is? I'd go to work and I'd be able to put it on. I'd be able to put on the Rita on the Rock show.
Yep.
You'd never know at work that there was 1,000 things going through my head.
Uh-huh.
I have a picture of me on
You
that day.
put another mask
And
on.
I'm making it's me pretending to catch bottles under
Mhm.
somebody. And that was the day that I had to go home and tell my
Mhm.
now ex-wife, "I don't know what they're gonna do about this car on Monday." And I wrote a letter to her parents. Her mom wrote back to me in all red. That's how serious. I mean, and they told Sarah, and Sarah screamed. I heard because I wasn't home yet. Screamed as loud as she could at the top of her lungs. Walked over to the front door and just pounded it, and then turned around, walked back to the couch, picked up the phone, called her mom, and said, "What are we gonna do? Okay, what are we gonna do?" And I was serious. I was gonna, and I wanted help. I thought that was my bottom. I really did. The pain that I saw in her
Let me
face,
tell you something.
and
Rock bottom has a basement.
it does, as
Yeah.
we learn. Because
Yeah.
I got in the program, man. I couldn't find, I couldn't, and that was the thing. I was trying to get help, but I couldn't find a GA meeting. Believe it or not, in Atlantic, as close as I am to Atlantic City, there's no GA meetings anywhere near. I'd have to go through Atlantic City. Guys, I'd still be sitting at those tables.
Yeah.
So one of my very best friends, Ashley, found Zoom and found RRO, Recovery Road Online, and sent me the link. And it was, I tell her to this day, she saved my life
No
because
kidding.
I was gambling online. Yeah, and then there's people who, and I agree, hey, listen, everybody's got a point of view. And do I think in-person meetings are great? Absolutely. I've been to them. Not a GA specific, but I've been to them. And they are good, but I was gambling online. I needed to be able to pick up my phone like I
Yeah.
did when I was gambling and
Right.
get on a meeting.
Take place of the game.
And I also got into working out, man, because I put on so much weight. And I would get off of work and it'd be 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd go right, this was before COVID. So I'd go to Planet Fitness and work out and jump on meetings and just jump
Wow.
on meetings and be working. And because if I went home, I would want to gamble because that was when I gambled, when everybody else was asleep, when I
Uh-huh.
had because I just wanted, we seclude ourselves. I just wanted to be alone. I didn't want to be
Uh-huh.
bothered. So I found my program. I January 24th, 2020 was the day I protected. And I worked my program and COVID happened and we actually left New Jersey and went to my in-laws vacation home in Elkins, West Virginia, which was on like 20 acres. It was like a fucking it was like a ranch. It was like it was like a retreat. It really
Uh-huh.
was. I was out of my element.
West Virginia.
I'm a I'm a city beach kid. This was West
I
Virginia.
can vouch for that.
And they got me painting fences, it's staying in
Wow.
furniture, fucking looking at woodpeckers in the morning, which are really big, by the way.
Are they?
Woodpeckers are huge. You
Wow.
would think Woody the woodpecker, they're freaking massive.
Really?
Yeah, I learned that.
Creepy.
But I was thriving. I was thriving. But all along, I noticed that Sarah was going through mood swings. Like there was a fight once where I was doing nothing. I was just watching TV in the bedroom, and she came in and she threw open the door, grabbed my shit, threw it out in the hallway, grabbed the laptop I was watching TV on, threw that down the hallway
Really?
in front of her parents too. She didn't give a fuck who she did this shit in front
Wow.
of. She was going through it, and Sarah, that I'm not gonna take her inventory, but she just, and I would offer her Gamanon, and I would say, you need to talk to somebody. You need to. You're going through this too, and she'd say, just as long as you get better, Rita, as long as you don't do this to us again, Rita. And I was like, I'm not going to. But as I was getting better and working my program, she was staying behind. And for the next year, a year and a half, we just grew far apart. We came home after 100 days of being in West Virginia, and I thought, and we got better in West Virginia. Believe it or not. And I thought, okay, great, we're gonna go home, and it's gonna be a fresh start, and I'm working my program, and I'm not gonna do this to us again. And we got home and she would come home from work and go right to sleep on the couch. She didn't want to do anything. And it wasn't so much that she didn't want to do anything, but then I wasn't allowed to do anything. I had to stay home with her. And I am one that's, an object in motion stays in motion. And there's so much to see and do out there. Like I'm down for a Netflix and chill, but not 7 days a week.
Wow.
And then it came to the point where and that's the other, she would watch me deal with this bullshit with my last relationship, the toxic relationship, where I get off of work and we would all stand around the car and talk and things like that. And Sarah would be right there because she was my coworker. That's how we met. And then so now when we're married and we're working separate jobs, but at the end of the night, I want to stand around and talk to my coworkers for a few minutes. I'm getting my phone blown
She
up.
get
And
mad.
I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't you. Like, you know exactly what the fuck
Yeah.
I'm doing. You watched me do it for 10 years. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when we were friends, like, I'm not screwing. I'm not the type to screw around. I only cheated on the toxic girlfriend because it was just, we just hurt each other. It was just who can hurt each other more. But, Sarah, for years, no, I never even thought about infidelity. And I'm not a cheater. When I love, but we stopped loving one another. We grew apart and it wound up opening me up to things were going great. Like I just life was really getting good for me, and I couldn't. And I found a friend at work, and we got very very close, and it made it easier for me to say to
Really.
Sarah, hey, we always promised before it got toxic we would end it if it ever came to this point. It's time. And then shortly after that, because then all of a sudden it was, let's work on it, let's work on it. But at that point, it was too little, too late.
Yeah.
I was hurt. I remember at my year anniversary, she wouldn't even get on camera with RRO when
Oh,
they were giving me
wow.
my pin. Like
Why?
I don't know. To this day, I still don't know.
So weird.
It's so, and she's not the shy type. And
Do you think she was jealous of the GA thing or?
oh yeah, at times,
Yeah, I think so.
definitely at
Mhm.
times. You know, she was supportive, but and again, the normies
Uh-huh.
don't understand. You know,
No.
like they don't get it.
Right.
And she would get jealous at times, and you know, I had to start monitor my meetings, like making sure I didn't overdo it,
Uh-huh.
so, but eventually it ended, and it definitely ended when she found, you know, uh scandalous messages from my friend at work and I, between the two of us. But I was
Midnight
okay because I
special.
got through a divorce and I didn't gamble. I started a new relationship
Wow. And you didn't gamble.
and I didn't gamble. Didn't gamble.
Wow.
You know, I managed to keep the house. You know, Sarah took the car. We had joint custody of our dog, which we were both respectful of. Sarah, once she got past the hurt and she started dating somebody who was a good person, you know, we actually started having a friendship again, and which was awesome because
Yeah.
we always said, listen, we have a great
Right.
friendship.
Yeah.
Let's not lose that, you know? And and I even got an apology from her once because Sarah, I used to say to her, I wish you would hit me. Some of the things that she would come out of her mouth were like just so harsh.
So mean.
And one time I told her something she said to me and she said, you know, I apologize, you know, I can't believe I said that. And she like, I could tell. And she even said to me one time, uh, I didn't know what I had until it was gone, meaning in our marriage, which made me feel good, you know,
Yeah.
because for a while there you start to think that you're all bad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that I ruined it. But I knew I was good because I was working my program and
Yeah.
I'm working my program. I'm in a new relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's a little bit younger than me, which was pretty cool, you know. We got along great. Her family, man, her family took me in like
Did she know about your gambling?
yes. And in fact, she even researched gambling, like an addicts, and so that she knew what she was getting into. She
Really?
has family who are addicts, recovering addicts. Nobody's a gambler like me, but they all have some sort of A. And so she's very familiar with it. And I even gave her my 2-year pin or my 2-year coin when I got it. You know, my sponsor said to give it away. And and I gave it to her. And this family was different, man. This family was it was 3 years of vacations, holidays, you know, doing things even when the girlfriend wasn't around, you know, and
Mhm.
I don't want to use her name.
No,
I
me
don't want to use her
neither.
name.
No.
Um, you know, her grandmom and I were so close, so close. And I'm just such a piece of shit when I'm gambling. Because I had life by the balls, and I was winning awards. My business was taking off. I was in commercials. I mean, things were great, and we were solid. This had been the best relationship I'd ever been in, and I'm not just saying that because it's newly over, and it
Right.
still hurts, and I
Yeah.
still would take her back tomorrow if she called.
Uh-huh.
Um, it was good. We never even screamed at each other. We never. 3 years we had 5-minute fights, if that, like tiffs. I don't even call them fights, tiffs. And we used to say that to each other, like, "Do you know how good we have it?" Like she would go out with her friends. I'm like, "Listen, go. I trust." There was a lot of trust. There was tons of trust, tons and tons and tons and tons of trust. And she was a simple person. She probably would have kept me forever because her family liked me. We had a, you know, whatever. I don't know.
Well, it's
So,
not too late.
I don't know. But anyway, so let's fast forward it.
Okay.
So we're together 3 years, and one day I decide to go to the bathroom, and I look on my email, and there's a free play for a casino in Atlantic City. So now I got 2.5 years under my belt. Everything's going great in my life. Could be better, and I decide,
But
why not?
you made a decision. So we have to figure out why did you make that decision? Were you just it was too good? Self-sabotage?
I think
Or
ego,
okay. You think you could do it
edging
right?
God out.
Yeah. Did you think you could control it then?
I thought I was just going to play that free play, and that'd be it.
Oh. But you knew that you were going to blow your date over free play?
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, I didn't even think of it. Like
It didn't
it didn't even
come into
cross
your
my
head.
mind. I
Wow.
just saw it, jumped on it, and then when
Oh.
I got done, I lost I didn't win. And and then I went upstairs and the girlfriend was crying. And I was like, and she shows me my tablet and it
Oh.
had said
It mirrored it.
yeah, it mirrored what I was doing. So she knew I gambled. And she just was like, why? She just couldn't understand why. And she's like, you gotta call your sponsor. You gotta, and let's mind you, at this time I had stopped going to meetings.
Oh,
I
see?
stuck one three, step three. Um, I I wasn't working my program at all. I was everything else in life was way more important than my, but I still hosted my meetings, but I half-ass showed up. You know, you know, if she wasn't on my case, if she wasn't on me so adamantly, I probably would have stopped long before that,
Yeah.
going to meetings and things like that. Call my sponsor, promised, oh yeah, I'm done. I'm done. It was just a one time. And it just no, I didn't stop. I just kept gambling and gambling and gambling. That was September, and then fast forward to February of 2024.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're still gambling from
I'm still
September to
gambling, but I'm
February.
hiding it well.
You're hiding the shit
I'm
out
hiding
of
the
it.
shit out of it,
All
right? Hiding the shit out of it. And you know, I was having dinner at this girl's grandparents' house, and because you know
The
that's
girlfriend?
what it.
The girlfriend grandparent house?
I was having dinner with
Okay.
her grandparents. She was at work.
Okay.
We just hung out like that.
Gotcha.
We were that close.
Yeah.
So I'm having dinner with them and I'm talking to them about, I'm about to start a new job, but money's a little tight right now, blah, 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 blah. And without even hesitating, they pulled out their checkbook and they wrote me a check for $1,000. Ooh, like nothing. Pay us back when you get it.
Wow.
They knew I was helping out their granddaughter. She wasn't paying to live with me because I was waiting until she got on her feet. She had just graduated college. So they were like, you know what? You're handling that. We'll help you out. I said, all right, great. Well, behind the check was a blank check that had got stuck.
Oh
And instead of just
no.
handing it back to them,
You
because
kept
I'm
it.
in my addiction now. I'm now in my addiction. Now I'm fooling
Yeah.
everybody.
You're making plans.
I thought, hang on to that, hang on to that.
Uh-huh.
And I held on to it and I went through March, April, May, gambling, gambling, gambling. Worse, worse, worse. Now I've I cleaned up Sarah's accounts. I
Her
got her
credit.
credit back. Car was making payments. We had a relationship. Her credit score is coming back. She's like, this is unbelievable. You know, and what do? I start because I banned myself from the casinos in New Jersey. I had to bet under somebody else's name.
Oh.
And I told my girlfriend at the time, I
Oh.
don't ever want to know your social security number. We will never have a joint bank account because I knew if I had that information, I
You'd
was
use
going
it.
to use it.
Yeah.
Just like I did with Sarah.
Yeah.
She's not even my wife anymore. Okay. We are separated. She's living her life. I'm living my life. And what do? I think that I'm allowed to go and take her social security number, her ID, play it to my advantage.
I mean, can you imagine how she feels?
Oh,
Mm.
a friend of mine said that to me. You know,
Mhm.
I boo-hooing that over what I've lost with the girlfriend and
Uh-huh.
the family. And it hurts a
True.
lot because I was very close with them. That was my
Yeah.
they were what I lived and breathed for 3 years.
Uh-huh.
But my friend said to me, how do you think Sarah's feeling?
I can't.
Twice you've let her down. Twice you've let her down.
And she still takes your phone calls.
Not all, she calls me. She fans, all right, so let's get back to I'll wrap this up, guys. So I have to check. I am gambling excessively. Me and my wonderful girlfriend who are having had to God, I was so stupid. We go to California, and we
Just
had
a regular trip.
no, we went to go see the opening of Something About Her. Shout out, met Ariana, which was really cool. Met we did a Vanderpump tour. We had a great fucking time. All right,
Yeah.
great fucking time. We even came
Did you
up.
go to Vanderpump House, the
mansion?
No, the restaurant.
Yes.
Oh, was
Sir?
it so pretty? Yes.
Sir, yeah, it's very pretty. It looks
So
different than it does on
gorgeous.
television.
Really?
Yeah, but it's cool. It's very, and we went to Tom Tom's
Uh-huh.
and we went to Swartz and Sandy's.
Uh-huh.
We went to something about her.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we did the whole thing. The only thing we didn't go to was Jax's new bar. But uh anyway, we even came up with a 5-year plan. We even talked about what we were gonna do in 5 years together. Like
Yeah, but you were gambling
yeah,
and you were doing a 5-year plan,
yeah.
knowing damn good and well.
I guess I thought I guess
She don't.
I thought she wouldn't leave me.
Well, you at least thought she'd say bye.
Yeah, yeah. I thought she'd at least say goodbye. Well, and what I mean by that, you'll find out. So this is where, ladies and gentlemen, however you feel or think about me after I tell you the next part, I
Just
totally
remember, mine's worse.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's just as shitty, but okay. So let's fast forward to right before we go to Vanderpump, right? We go out to California.
Yeah.
It is the last week in May of 2024.
Oh, okay.
I have a new job. I'm a bartender. I'm bringing home crazy money every
Uh-huh.
night, but every night I'm gambling it after she falls asleep
Oh, shit.
or while she's at work, gamble or anytime I got a free minute.
Uh-huh.
And I'm losing it, losing it, losing it. And we're
Yeah.
about to go to California, and I have no money to get on the plane the next day. And I'm like, she's gonna know. She's gonna absolutely know as soon as we get to the airport when we can't split the luggage that I have no money and that I'm gambling. Okay. Like,
But
she's a
did
very
you
smart
tell her?
girl, my ex-girlfriend.
Did you tell her?
No.
No.
In fact, the Sunday before that, I was at the pool with her mom and grandmom, where I tried to use her mom's card, okay, and I got found out, and I managed to bullshit my way through it. Whether they believed it or not, I don't
They
fucking
didn't.
they didn't believe it.
Not now.
But not now, definitely not now. But they I had a perfect opportunity to tell them that Sunday. Did not tell them. They would have helped me too. They would help me tell my girlfriend, and this
Oh.
would have been a different outlook.
Oh.
So instead, no, I'm in control, right? I'm in control. So
Oh.
right before we're about to go to California, I pull out that check. Now let's
Oh,
also
check.
rewind to the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
Her grandmom, who is in the healthcare industry, is fired from her position.
What?
Yeah, she gets fired
Why?
for bullying. But we won't get into
Grandma
that.
was bullied?
I don't want to get into that. Okay. I don't want to
Okay,
get into
but I
that.
don't believe it.
All right. All right. We don't need any lawsuits. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I'm on your side, Grandma.
All right. So grandma, and then that's not funny. It's funny how you said that, but Grammy gets fired. Okay.
Yeah.
And being close friends that we are, she tells me, hey, she's supposed to decide one day. And she says, hey, I'm about to kill him. I'm about to kill grandpa because he's writing checks to charities and we're the
Oh.
charity. I tell him we're the charity. We're the charity.
Uh-huh.
So when I write out this check the night before we go to California,
Mm-hmm.
the check that was theirs, I write it out to cash,
Uh-huh.
write it out for $500,
Uh-huh.
just enough that I thought, okay, I get this 500, I go to California, I get back, I put the money back in the account because that's the way we think when
That's the
we're.
way it goes.
I never intended to steal from them. I've been told that's the most warped fucking thing I've ever heard. You didn't intend to steal from them. No,
I didn't either.
Never
I
instead.
didn't either.
I never. I
didn't
love these
either.
people.
Right.
I would have taken a bullet for these people. I would have done anything they asked me to do.
And let me tell you something. If you haven't stole, you will.
Yeah.
We always say yet. Put a yet on the end of that.
Yeah.
Because you will steal
I never say
from anybody.
I try to never say never because every time I've said, oh, I'd never do that, I've done it.
You do it. Yeah.
I've done it.
Yeah.
Things and despicable things like that.
Terrible. Yeah.
Like depositing this check into my account, writing charity in the memo so that when it gets cashed, they blame it. I'm such a piece of shit. I mean, wait, I'm not laughing because this is funny, okay?
I'm
Audience,
not laughing.
I'm laughing
Funny.
because I can't believe I'm that big of a piece of shit
I
at this
know.
time. I'm not a piece of shit today. At this time, I was a piece of shit. I was a real piece of shit, and I just wanted to cover my ass, and I wanted to keep good times to keep going.
Desperation.
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 I was desperate. I was so
Desperate.
fucking
When
desperate.
you are desperate,
I was so
you
desperate.
can justify it. Mm.
So we go to California, and as soon as I deposit this check, I'm like, please don't clear. Please don't clear. Please don't clear. I don't care what happens. Please don't clear. And it also sent off red flags when this all came out because the account that I deposited it into had my name and my ex-wife's name on it because I signed my ex-wife up for an account with me, okay, because she was trying to get the Cadillac in her name.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, this was gonna be the account that was a good account. I wasn't gonna fuck this account up. And then I had her name on it, and I thought, okay, great, this will help. It was through the finance company with the car, blah blah blah. But it looked fishy as shit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that was honestly my intentions.
Yeah.
So I'm not all fucking evil. All
Right.
right. So we go to California, check clears, and I immediately take the money, put it into another account. I'm thinking, all right, great. I can get through this trip. I'm good. I'm good. I'll get, as soon as I get back, I'll work a shift and I'm gonna put that money back.
All be good.
So,
Didn't work out that way?
nah,
What happened?
I get a call while we're in California. Hey, Rita, and this is my girlfriend's mom, who works at a law
Oh,
firm.
no.
Works and has helped me with multiple things.
Wait a minute. Is she a lawyer?
Yes, they work for, yeah,
Oh,
So, Rita, hey, when you get back, we just need you to come in here and sign some papers for X, Y, and Z. And I trusted them. They could have told me, hey, sign among TJS. I'd be like, okay, you got a
okay.
Sharpie. But I'm like, okay, but I was like, I wonder what this. And I kept saying something just didn't feel right. And my girlfriend at the time kept saying, well, you didn't do anything wrong. You don't have anything to worry
Do you
about.
think she had a clue?
I think she knew something was up. I don't know. I don't know. I
Okay.
can't ask her because I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I can't speak for her.
All right.
So I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know how smart she actually was to this.
Oh,
As I walked in the conference room, I saw
oh,
MGM gift
intervention.
cards. That's because that's what to keep it off of my bank account records and stuff. I'd buy that MGM cards, plus they gave you a $10
Lord.
bonus.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so I'd buy them and then just chuck them. But I was getting sloppy. I wanted to get caught. I was throwing them out in grandma's trash can. I was
Yeah.
throwing them out in the mom's trash can. I was throwing them out in my trash can. You know, I almost inside of me wanted to get caught because I knew it had become so bad. It was so fast, so
Oh,
much faster. And it's like drug addicts, they say they overdose because when they go back into their addiction, they start out at exactly what they left off at. Well, I didn't start with $5, $10 bets again. I went right back in 2024.
Yes.
So tells me that gentleman tells me, because I'm not gonna use his name either. Gentleman tells me that the jig is up. They would, if it was up to them, they'd have you arrested. But thank God,
Ugh.
grandfather was the only one who didn't want, he said, we're not gonna arrest this girl.
Good.
Thank you, Grandpa.
Thank you, Grandpa.
Thank you. Yeah, I got a letter from her mom that said the only way you can walk away from this is if you walk away. And reread this line numerous times until you get it, meaning walk away.
Oh,
The only way you get to
that's
walk away
shitty.
is to walk away.
Right, I get it.
So,
Did you not get it the first time?
no, I knew what they meant. I knew
Okay.
if I didn't want to go to jail, I was
Then
just
you
going to
gotta
leave the
walk
family.
away, you gotta
I
walk
was going to
away.
leave the whole family alone.
Okay, so
So I start bawling. I said to
oh,
gentleman, lawyer, I need help. I said, I need help. And he said something I'll never forget. And he has three boys who are all college, high school, junior high. So I hope this doesn't bite him in the ass. He said to me, I don't know what to tell you, Rita, but this job has made my skin tough and my heart cold. Meaning, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
don't
I'm
give a
sorry,
fuck.
I'm sorry you have a problem, but I'm not gonna help you. And I said, okay. And he said, the only person who
Wow.
loses in this is that poor girl, meaning my girlfriend.
The only person who loses in this.
Yeah, right?
God.
People without a program, man.
Oh,
So
God.
the things that they'll say, it's like, do they even hear themselves? Do they
Everybody.
even hear
Well, they
themselves?
told you flat out doesn't have he has a cold heart.
Yeah, yeah, my friends tell. Anyway, so
I don't feel so
um
stupid.
anyway, so I worked the night and then I was off for 3 days and I said it was lonely. I was fucking lonely. I was devastated. I was high. I was still betting. I still was betting. I was
Now,
still
can you
bet
imagine if you had cancer? Because this is an illness. All right, we won't call it cancer. We'll call it diabetes.
yeah.
Can you imagine if you had that, all your shit falls apart and the man tells you I ain't helping you, your partner is gone, everybody has abandoned you because you have diabetes.
Yeah. You still have your father who I love you to death, Dad, but Mr. Magoo. I mean, but he was great during all this
Was
because I
he?
cried to him.
Oh, good,
And for a little bit he remembered, which
good.
sucks because I don't want him to remember this,
I know.
but he sees right now he sees me. He's of sound body and mind to see that
He is.
I'm working my program. I'm going back to church. The best thing he ever said to me was a couple weeks ago when I told him I was on my way to church. He said, "Your mother would be so proud of you."
Oh my
And I
God.
haven't heard him say he's proud of me, let alone
Oh,
that my mom is proud of me in forever.
oh, honey.
So I know I'm doing the right thing. But so let's
You're absolutely not.
just people are so
Just
mean.
gotta keep it that way. Oh, girl.
Oh, so anyway, so
They are. They're
I
all.
went on a 3-day binger. I lost everything except for $40. And I said, all right, well, this is God's sign. I'm not supposed to be here anymore. Like, what the fuck is there left to live for, you know? And nobody would listen to me. I couldn't get the money back fast enough. And then I was left with $40. And so I started researching suicide. And I didn't want it to hurt because I like comfortability. So I started looking up how to commit suicide but be comfortable.
Comfortable suicide.
Comfortable suicide. So believe it or not,
Oh,
there's a
God.
technique that they use in assisted suicide, and it's helium. So I took my $40 and I went to Walmart and I went into the Party Central section. I bought myself a helium tank. I left and I went home and started writing my suicide letters. Anything I had around, I fucking hadn't smoked since January. I was puffing on cigarettes. It didn't matter. I just think, fuck, I was gonna die. I was gonna kill myself. I did not expect to be there on Monday. This was Sunday. And then next thing you know, I woke up and I'm in an ambulance and
Wow, that's crazy.
and I'm on my way to a center. And
Mm.
the saving grace in this story is that while I was in that center, well, before I got to the center, I was at the hospital. Not my so but the saving grace was I met this gentleman who came to me before they shipped me off and said, "Hey, you need to get better because we have a crisis counseling group and we don't have anybody for gamblers, and we think you would be perfect."
Perfect.
A perfect part of it, a perfect addition. And I couldn't wait. I was excited. I knew I wanted my program.
That got you
I
going.
knew I needed my program again. And I was they took me to a facility and I was there for 5 days. The only person I talked to was my sponsor for 10 minutes a day. All I
Oh.
wanted was that's all I was allowed was 10 minutes
I
on the
mean,
phone.
what'd you do the rest of the day?
Went to went to fucking I worked my steps. That's what I did. They knew what I was there for. I was friendly with all the counselors, of course.
Yeah.
I was friendly. I mean, if the first day I slept
Yeah,
everything off.
I slept a lot too.
And you know what else I think is fucking funny as shit?
What?
Okay, I'm gonna give you all a little confession right here.
All right.
When they took me to the hospital, okay,
Yeah.
before I went to
Hospital, the pavilion.
the watchful eye hospital. Okay. I was at the local hospital, right?
Yeah.
In their watchful eye unit, but that's just a couple rooms. They're like, we need a urine sample. And I'm like, I don't want these people to know what I was on, because I was doing anything I had in my house.
Uh-huh.
So there was pee in the toilet. Now, don't forget, I'm also high still, okay? I'm fucking my whole world is over. I don't care. But I'm like, so I just went in and I scooped it up.
Oh, she did.
I didn't touch it, but I
No,
scooped
but
it up.
still.
And then they came back, they're like, you're on like all these downers and that. I'm like, no, I was like, no, I'm not. I was like,
Girl.
and they're like, yeah, you don't seem like that. And I was like, So, but this hospital is so known for so many mistakes
They're
and
idiots.
and things like that that I don't know. But I mean,
She should have said goodbye. Jeez. I think that, oh God, I think she ghosted you. You didn't have a chance to say, here's what happened. She didn't say what happened.
right.
That's what hurt me the most was nobody said, what happened to you?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't normal for me
Yeah.
at all, ever. And nobody said, are
Hey,
you okay? Hey,
hey, you're the person that's been coming around for 3 years, you know, like,
is anything off? You
yeah.
know?
Or hey, you're,
And
you know,
she never let you say, even explain it or
any
say
letter I've
goodbye.
written to her, she has ripped up. Um, and I did get a letter from her. I paid the grandmother back the 1,000 that they let me borrow plus the 500 I stole.
Yes.
And then I received a letter on my birthday saying that they would meet me on my 90th day of sobriety. And it was wonderful. It was beautiful because it wound up being on
I know.
a day that
They're
all
recovering.
addiction retreat was happening, which the center that I am trying to get affiliated with was part of it. So I got to be a part of that. And they saw me, you know, because I would write to the Grammy after she wrote to me, I'd
Uh-huh.
write to her. She wouldn't write back, but I would
Yeah.
just keep writing to her, writing to her. And she would send me an emoji, like a happy face emoji anytime I dropped the letter off. But then come the 90 days, I'm
No
thinking,
happy face
oh, I
emoji.
thought it was gonna go totally different. 90 days comes and and grand grandpa's in there telling the support group, we want to invite her back into our home after a year. You know, we really want to see her make progress. Again, thank you, grandfather. And also thank you for keeping me out of jail. Okay. Nope, nope. My best friend, the lady, yes, the lady I stole from, but
Grammy.
and made restitution also and have poured my heart out. I mean,
She was a good friend to you.
very good friend of me. She was a very good friend of me.
Yeah.
And don't you know me?
What?
Don't you know me?
Oh my
How don't you know me? I mean, yes, it was a hard, and there's no justification. I am not justifying what I've done. Okay. But I mean, you would have thought,
God. I honestly think you're too good for those people.
thank you.
I do. It's different now though. So you came
So
back
I went back
in.
into the program.
Yes.
June 10th was my first day. I did not place a bet. And I haven't looked back since
Oh.
as far as making it back goes. I've reflected multiple times on the events
You
that
know,
have
I
led me
just
to that
thought,
point.
Walt's is 6'9". Yours is 6'10".
No shit.
Wow.
Wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's
But how's it different? What is Rita doing different this time than last time?
oh my God, bored myself. God damn, you don't stop talking, Rita. Jesus, has it been an hour and a half? No, I'm just kidding. I gave her NyQuil like
I
an
got
hour ago.
I got like toothpicks to hold my eyelids open.
Bitch.
Oh, damn it.
What
Yeah.
did you ask me?
I don't know. Rita, what is different?
What is different? I'm
What
working
is
this recovery so much differently, man. So much differently. I use my phone list. I never used my phone list before. I never called anybody in recovery. And now I call people every day, you know, or I show up at their front door. As I come back into the program,
yeah.
oh, he came to me. Since I've come back into the program, I have went and visited friends in hospitals. I've
Uh-huh.
went to different states. I've been to Gamblers Anonymous
Uh-huh.
convention. Never went to one before. Never went to one. I wasn't against it, but I just never went. Never had any interest. I made sure I was there this year. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be the Recovery Road Online convention in May.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with grace of God. You know, that's the plan. But I also got a breakthrough. I
Yeah.
was struggling on step 3 and I had a tremendous breakthrough. I'm going to church. I found God again. Like, because here's the thing. One last thing, guys, about my brother is
High five.
oh my brother is my mom used to always say, I wish I could meet the MFer who gave my son his first drug. Well, years after they had passed away, my mom and brother, we had a priest that my mom adored. We went to his mass every week, sat in the front row.
That motherfucker.
He buried my brother. He buried my mom. He would invite us to alumni masses once a year for deceased of this high school. My brother never even graduated from that high school. So I was told recently at an event that I was at that he did that to replay his own sick fucking shit.
Oh my God.
Well, years later, we find out, thank God, after my mom had passed away, that the first person to give my brother a drug was this priest.
How'd you find that out?
He got arrested. He was a huge case in Philadelphia.
Oh my.
He was the principal of the largest high school in Philadelphia.
Wow.
And he got busted for he was doing shit with kids. He was getting boys to sell drugs for him. And my brother was always in his office, always with him. He used to call him Michael. And when Anthony would get in trouble, he was like, Michael, Anthony, why did you do that? And my brother would go, it wasn't me, father, it was Michael. You know,
Oh, damn.
but
Wow. Well, Rita,
so for now, that's my story. I
Get rid of
can't
it.
help but think,
Wasco will take care of that for you.
no, it's my
Yes,
goal.
yes.
I have some goals I have ahead of me, and
Got some
I
goals.
will we are gonna do some recaps on people who have shared, see where they're at in a few months and stuff. And I hope to come back, guys, and give you guys an awesome
I
update.
hope
But
so too.
thank
Hope
you for letting me hear myself talk. The end.
I mean, it's our pleasure.
Boom, 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 boom. The end. All right, we can stop. What's up, guys? It's Rita BOOM here, just telling you, if you enjoyed this podcast, get on there and leave some comments, all right? Whether you liked it, you didn't like it, if it's good enough of a comment, we're going to read it online. Know why? Because it helps our algorithm. That way we don't have to charge anybody anything crazy like that. So, again, leave the comments, we'll read them online, and boom, boom, boom. Don't place a bet today, okay? All right.